Today we are going to be editing the letter drafts that we wrote yesterday. And so I grabbed my writing notebook where my letter draft is, and you can see it is riddled with mistakes. Go ahead and grab yours, and together we're going to find all of our capitalization mistakes, all of our organization mistakes, all of our punctuation mistakes, and finally our spelling mistakes. Remember that we edit using COPS, the acronym to help us find all of the mistakes to make perfect writing. So today I'm going to start with the letter C for capitalization, and you're going to notice for each letter of COPS, I'm also going to do a different color. So if you'd like, you can pause this video, make sure you have your letter in front of you, and if you have different colors that you want to use to mark your mistakes and organize them as best as possible, you can do that too. Go ahead and pause this video and get your supplies. Otherwise, I'll see you in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now together, let's find the capitalization mistakes in our letters. Like for example, dear in front of Dear Eli should have a capital E or D. So I'm going to mark it with 3 lines underneath. I'm going to continue to go through the rest of my letter and find lowercase letters that should be uppercase and uppercase letters that should be lowercase. And you can do the same thing in your letter. Kansas needs to be uppercase because it's the name of a state. Starts of sentences should also be uppercased. Now you may need more time to find your capitalization mistakes. If you'd like to use more time to find it, you can pause this video, but I'm going to write a check mark on my page when I finish with capitalization, and I'm going to ask you to do the same. Once you find all of your capitalization mistakes and marked them with 3 lines, give yourself a letter C and a check mark saying that you found all of your capitalization errors. Soon I'm going to move into organization. So if you need more time, pause this video now until you're also ready to look at organization. All right, let's look at the letter O. Organization is asking whether or not our sentences make sense, especially when we read them out loud. Sometimes when we write things in our head, they sound great, but once they get down on paper, it sounds like a hot mess. So I'm actually going to read my sentences out loud and see if there's spots where things get jumbled. Dear Eli, as you may have heard, I moved to Kansas. We left home in hopes of finding equality. People told us that Kansas great farmland has and safe place to live for all. Whoa, okay. People told us that Kansas has. If I'm missing a word, I use this little caret to say that I want to insert a word there. Has great farmland. I'm going to cross out this has because I don't need it. And safe place to live for all. And is a safe place to live for all. Okay, that sounds better. Now I live in Nicodemus, Kansas, and life is very different. There isn't much around us, and it's hard to survive. I'm struggling to farm, but I'm happy to live in a new and kind community. I really miss you. Please write me back and tell me about new in Kentucky. About what is new in Kentucky? Sincerely, Julie. Now, before I check myself off for the letter O, I also want to make sure I have certain organization things that we need for letters. For example, I want to make sure I have Dear Eli at the top, and I do, so that's good. I want to make sure that I indent my paragraph. That means I push my paragraph in till about where my arrow is, since it's the start of a paragraph. And since I didn't do that, I'm going to mark with an arrow saying that I need to indent or start it a little bit further on the line. And then also I need to make sure I have Sincerely Julie at the end. Since I do, I'm giving myself a check mark for O. If you'd like more time to check your organization, this would be a great time to pause your video. Otherwise, we're going to move into punctuation. All right, here we go. Punctuation, I'm looking for missing periods, commas, or maybe I used ending marks that aren't right. And I'm going to go through my sentences and see what I find. Dear Eli, oop, right away. I forgot to put a comma. If I forget a punctuation mark, I draw it and then draw a circle around it to really make a big note to say to add it. As you may have heard, I moved to Kansas. We left home in hopes of finding equality. People told us that Kansas has great farmland and is safe place. Oop, another organization. Is a safe place to live for all. Now I live in Nicodemus, Kansas. Oof, that's a run-on sentence. I'm going to put a period at the end of a safe place for all, period. Now I live in Nicodemus, Kansas, and life is very different. There isn't, oop, forgot an apostrophe, much around us, and it's hard, I did it again, to survive. I'm struggling to farm, but I'm happy to live in a new and kind community. I really miss you? I don't want to ask I really miss you as a question. So if I find a piece of punctuation that I think is wrong, I'm going to cross it out and I'm going to write the new one in a circle to say that I'm correcting it. Please write me back and tell me about what is new in Kentucky. Sincerely, comma, Julie. All right. I've marked my P for punctuation. I hope you're doing the same. If you need more time to find punctuation mistakes inside your letter, pause this video now because we're about to move into spelling. Now, spelling is tricky because a lot of times we don't even realize we're making spelling mistakes whenever we make them. We just think that's how a word is spelled. So I'd recommend maybe find someone in your house who can look over and check spelling for you. Or if you have certain words that you're just not sure if you spelled right, go through and circle them and you can Google the correct spelling afterward. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to find the words that I'm not confident I spelled correctly. Go ahead and do the same in your letter. And when you find a word you're not sure if you spelled right, circle it. So now I've gone through and circled all of the words that I'm not sure are spelled correctly. If you haven't finished doing this job in your letter, go ahead and pause this video and continue circling these words that you're not confident about either. Whenever you're ready to look up the spelling, you can either ask a person in your house with you for their opinion, or you can go onto Google and search for the spelling. Even if you spell it wrong, most of the time Google can guess what you're trying to say and tell you the correct spelling. So I'm going to go through and correct my misspelled words by writing the correct spelling on top of the word, like that. Also, if you're not sure how to spell a word, see if it's in my letter. If you're not sure how to spell sincerely, I have sincerely in my letter. You can copy the way that I spelled it. If you also wrote the word struggling and you aren't sure if you spelled struggling correctly, check to see how I wrote it. Once you've found all of your spelling mistakes, it's time to check off our final letter in COPS. Today, all you have to do is find your editing mistakes. We'll start working on our final draft tomorrow. So once you get to this step, you found all of your errors and marked them, wrote COPS and check marked it along the way, then you can go ahead and add a response and upload a photo of your work.